Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer with the only baby DJ.
Baby DJ, DJing all night long, hidden bottle service for sure. It's me, Lady Ada, with me, Mr. Lady Ada. We're here on tonight's Ask Engineer. Thanks to Melissa for covering show and tell. It's back to us. We're broadcasting live from downtown Manhattan in the secret Adafruit baby headquarters, where we do a lot of our designing and electronics and testing and coding and videoing and more. We got a fun show for you coming up. Got lots of new products and discount codes coming out. Not, is not out yet. Don't ask, videos and more.
Got a lot going on.
Mr. Lady Ada, why don't you tell them what's on tonight's show?
On tonight's show, the code is Quad Row 10. Quad Row 10. It'll all make sense as you check out the new products towards the end of the show. Talk about some of our live shows, including Show and Tell. Also go over some Desk of LadyAda, including Great Search, Time Travel, Look Around Makers, Artists, Hackers, Engineers. We had some visitors. We'll talk about that. Go over one of the openings that we have here at Adafruit. Do a little bit of advanced manufacturing, made in New York City factory footage. Do some 3D printing. Do some INPI, brought to you by DigiKey this week. It's ST. Got a fun top secret segment and a bunch of new products. You can put your questions over in Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. That's where you answer the questions. Please go over there. All that and more on Ask an Engineer. So first up, the video that you saw, that was our kiddo playing with this thing called Blipbox. It's a MIDI like toddler synth. So we're getting her started really early. And then what I did is I took the video that I shot and the first 10-15 seconds with an app called Runway ML, you can take video and then have it turn into another type of video using all this AI stuff people are talking about, and you can put a prompt. So I put like baby DJ cyberpunk. So here's what it cranked out. And then if you want to see them side by side, you could see what it did. So it stylized the video.
Interesting to see.
Yeah, it definitely has like a you can tell it's like, oh, that's like an AI style. So that's kind of neat. And debate aside, or just to acknowledge it. So this is our own footage with our own kid, with our music. There'll be some type of incredibly cruel, terrible person saying this is stealing somehow. Don't think it is, but good luck with that. So I feel like it's applying a stylized filter to a video that I shot. But anyways, because we're on social media and there's always roaming gangs of I don't know what other way to describe it than just like really cruel, mean people that don't like anything. Anyways,
Nice to be them.
yeah. So, we do freebies and we have a discount code. Quadrotin is a discount code tonight. Lady Ada, when people buy stuff, they put it in their cart. What do they get?
Oh, they get free stuff. So we have our full selection of freebies still. $99 or more, you get a free Permaproto half-size breadboard. It's our classic freebie, but still very useful. Great for taking your project and making it permanent. $149 or more, you get a free KB2040, our RP2040 board that is Pro Micro pinout. It has USB-C and built-in memory and semi-QT port, castellated pads. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping on continental United States. More about that soon. And $299 or more, you get a Circuit Playground Express. That's right, our favorite development board that has all sorts of goodies built in and can be used with alligator clips for no solder connectivity is back in stock, and we're giving it away free.
Oh, I'll mention this right now. We'll just go ahead and jump to it. So the Teamsters today via Twitter, everyone's favorite place to put out news, is their strike is imminent. So for the folks who follow kind of shipping news, UPS may be on strike. They've given UPS till June 30th, which is Friday, to come up with a tentative agreement. You're probably wondering, since Adafruit uses UPS, what will we do? Don't worry, we have United Postal Service, and DHL, and we're also flipping the switch on FedEx for that period of time if there's a strike. But we also want to add some other shipping options down the road, so this is a good reason to do that. We'll see what happens. We'll keep everybody posted. it doesn't look good for anyone involved. My opinion is it's because surely we can get to something without the threat of like all commerce stopping. And who does it hurt the most if there's really a strike? It'll probably be small businesses because Amazon can,
Amazon.
yeah, Amazon can just, they have their own fleet, they have their own things. So there'll be a lot of small businesses that rely on UPS. That if there is a strike, it'll be not great. And shipping costs across the board have gone up for everyone. You can subsidize it and do fake things with kind of like how a publicly held company can do things, like Amazon is an example. But even Amazon has had to raise the prices on shipping, and Prime, I think they're in some type of lawsuit right now with the FTC. So it's just a slog if you ship things. But we like to make sure we're not relying on one thing. Or one entity or one carrier or one chip or we've lived a life over the last few years, so if that does happen, don't worry about it. You'll still be able to get stuff from us, and there'll be an overnight shipping option, which is FedEx. So we'll see. So that's the news that LadyAda was referring to. We do some live shows on Sundays. We do Desk of LadyAda. We do it in two parts. LadyAda, what was part one this week?
Um, okay, so part one, I talked about last week. I got the PCBs for my toy hacker board, Rev A, and that's always fun because you get to put together and see if it works. And it kind of worked. Kind of didn't work either, but I got enough of it going that I showed off a demo of playing audio files and how I did it with the mixer to reduce the volume. And then I talked about the power supplies. The power supply, I made a couple assumptions that were incorrect. And I kind of knew they were incorrect, but I was like, well, I just want to get this out the door. So I had to blue wire hack the board. So I showed the changes that I made and what I'm going to do in Rev B. So I've ordered the Rev B PCBs, and hopefully that version will not only have the audio playing, but also will be able to run off of battery power because that's what doesn't work with so well with Rev A. But you know, I like to show what I do wrong because I think a lot of people will learn from it, and how to fix mistakes and how to adapt and keep going. I've had designs that take 9, 10 revisions. So I think it's only going to take about 3 or 4 before I get it perfect.
Okay. And then we also do the Great Search, which is when LadyAda uses her power of engineering to help you find things on digikey.com. What did you look for this week?
So this week, one of the things with the toy hacker board is it's got a really weird power supply, which is why I didn't get it quite right the first time. It can run off of USB-C power. You plug it into the computer, and it's going to, have USB-C power and data come in. So that's 5 volts, and then it also can run off of the 2 AA batteries that are used in the enclosure, and that's going to be like 2 to 3.4 volts. So I wanted to find, or 3.5 volts. I wanted to find on um, the Great Search a chip that could give me 3.3 volt out cleanly from something as low as 1.8 or as high as 5.5 volts. So these are called buck boost converters or single-ended power integrated circuits, SEPIC converters. So I showed a bunch of good buck boost converters with synchronous rectification, so minimal parts required, fixed voltage output. So really like very simple, only like 3 components needed to get this thing running, the chip, couple capacitors, and inductor. And I found a couple good options to try out. So if you have a power supply that might go above or below the output voltage, I think the chip I found was like 70 cents. It's about the same price as a boost converter or a buck converter, and it can do both.
Okay. Tune in every single week for this, and you can also tag us or email us if you want to see something on the Great Search. If you're looking for a substitution or just like, hey, I'm looking to do the following. What part should I get? That's what the show's for. And we have a lot of success stories with people being able, well, definitely during the chip shortage, being able to substitute parts. But now it's just like, hey, I'm looking to do this. What should I get? And then Lady Ada goes through kind of all the knobs and dials of the DigiKey search to get you
Yeah,
what you're looking for.
and lots, and it's there's other in stock. It's amazing. It's like 50,000 stock, and I'm like, yes, I
Yeah.
can actually
Okay.
design something with this.
All right, and then on Fridays we have Deep Dive with Tim, and also on Discord with our show listings, we added Tim's show that Tim does on the weekends sometimes. Time travel.
Gonna go back in time. Gonna go back in time.
All right, the phrase that you hear, nature's healing. Things are happening. So we're seeing more and more people visit or travel now, because I know it's been kind of a slog. One, there's been conferences that have been starting up again. Also, companies and entities are like, okay, there's still stuff going on between COVID and whatever, but the show's moving on. Um, so we've had some visitors. We had Zach from Particle, we had Eric from Seed, and then
And
Toby.
Scott and Dan.
Yeah, Scott and Dan visited. Toby from Raspberry Pi, and then Evan from Raspberry Pi. And here's our kiddo. This is our new pose. So if we have a friend visiting the Adafruit factory, we're going to use baby for scale. So you could see how baby's getting bigger over time.
You see that? Yeah, the previous one, she's kind of escaping me.
Yeah, she's like,
She's a
bye,
little bit of a fidgeter.
bye.
Actually, she wanted Toby to hold her.
Yeah. So special thanks to the Raspberry Pi folks who've been visiting. Liz was up before, Alistar, also Brian Jepson, who just joined from LinkedIn. Prior to that was at O'Reilly Make. I used to work with Brian a long time ago. Now Brian works in the documentation division department. And it was good to catch up with Raspberry Pi. And there's some cool stuff ahead.
Yeah.
And they're also working on some neat stuff. And
Yeah, no, we're getting to the shortage.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're
they were like, here's our plans. We're making so many Raspberry Pis.
yeah, they're doing a good job with keeping up with demand. So we've had Raspberry Pis in stock, and they've lasted, half an hour up to an hour before they've been sold out. I did see some news, which, whatever. It's not fun to delight in other people's misery, but this one might be okay. So there's folks who bought up a bunch of Raspberry Pis because they were hoping to sell them for like $200 or $300, and they're contacting the RPI locator Twitter account. They're saying, "Hey, where can I sell these? Because I'm kind of stuck with them now." And he's kind of like, you were the problem.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, like there was a shortage, but it wasn't a short. It was exacerbated by people who were hoarding them to try
yeah,
to sell them for higher costs. Please don't do that.
yeah. And as far as like, we've been at this uh, for like 15 years with Adafruit, and we've had to call the cops on like threats to Lemoore. Like people have sent weird shit in the mail, gross stuff. People have showed up. There's been like, like stuff that's really hard to talk about because like, oh, like, hey, go into electronics. This could happen to you. It doesn't really happen to guys. It usually happens to women, harassers and stalkers online. But the Raspberry Pi stuff was the worst. There was really entitled guys that thought that they deserved 5 Raspberry Pis. They were mean to our support team, calling them names, threatening them. Some people showed up. They lied to the security staff at the building to try to get past them. You name it, it happened. And so there's something weird about people now. I think this is a new thing, and so I'm looking forward to when it's over. As far as like Raspberry Pis not being able to be purchased instantly. I think we're always going to stock Raspberry Pi, but I would prefer if someone's going to be terrible, just get it from somewhere else. I mean, really, like
I
we.
hope there's some guy out there who has like 500 Raspberry Pi 4s and like 16 ventilators and like a big truck of like N95 masks.
There's a little bit of that. I think there's something that like people when they don't have creative outlets or they don't have friends or family or community, the thing that they try to do is figure out what their angle is. Like, oh, I'm gonna hoard all these Raspberry Pis. I'm gonna then sell them for a higher price, and that's where I'm gonna get my fulfillment. And it's kind of sad. So hopefully this is over, and we're fine. But there was some psychic damage to this um, that I'm looking forward to ending. So it was good to see more light at the end of the tunnel with Raspberry Pi and kind of confirm some of the stuff that we were seeing, which is more supply. Let's do some help wanted. So we have a job that a few people applied for at the
We have like that song is like we've got letters, like we have jobs.
yeah, well this one the help wanted is
Oh, you have the help.
yeah, a little bit of help. So on our website right now, this is embedded system development, and we just go over this. This is with Adafruit.io. Go to adafruit.com/jobs and check it out. We just got a few resumes in, and this is for remote, per hour. But we have a bucket of time that we want people to dedicate to it and a budget. All the details are there if you're interested in doing stuff with Adafruit.io. That's what that's all about. Let's do some Python hardware news. Okay, this week in the newsletter, just some I guess logisticy notes. Katney's going to be doing guest editing soon, so give a shout out to Katney when you see Katney around, either in our Discord or wherever. Send us or tag us with any news for the newsletter. When we have guest editors, Anne's on vacation for a couple weeks, so when we have guest editors, I always encourage them to have it be different. Put your own spin on it, your own voice. And speaking of, lots of Circuit Python folks doing podcasts and more. I kind of like this new podcast interview landscape that we have. If there's someone who's producing code or doing something really neat, there's probably a specific podcast that they're getting interviewed on, whether it be video or audio. And this is no exception. So Circuit Python with Katney, you can check this out. And then with the Real Python podcast, Todd Kurt is there, which I'm going to listen to because I've known Todd.
Who's this guy?
I know Todd for a long time. And he always has neat projects, really insightful, always delightful, whimsical, has like really neat things that Todd shares with the world, and then we see other people do cool stuff with it. So I'm looking forward to that when I have it loaded up. And then we went over some of our toy hacking and more, because this is one of our new Circuit Python boards. It's a toy hacker board, so you can put this inside of a baby toy.
This is the first baby toy running Python.
It is, yeah, until someone
Says
yells at me on Twitter. We think it's the first Wi-Fi and Circuit Python or Python enabled baby toy. And with we'll show a little clip later. We put Taylor Swift on the kid's toy.
Yeah.
So if you've seen these are Baby Einstein Take Along, and it just plays the same like 7 songs. So we have a drop-in replacement that you'll be able to put in there soon, and it's a cool board. This is also, maybe it can teach product design and development. Also a single serving music player. There's a lot of neat uses for it, but we have a specific one right now. And then update for CircuitPython 8.2.0, release candidate 0. If you want to check out the latest, what's going on, here are some changes. There's Synth.io, and there is a RP2040 alarm sleep memory fix change.
Please try it. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of tweaks, and if there's any regressions, we want to find them. But Synth.io continues apace.
Yeah. And do check out all the news. There's a ton of things going on. Make just reviewed some of our boards.
Yeah.
So you could check out the board.
Well, we finally have like a bunch of new hardware, that's been put out. And so Hackspace and Make have been covering them.
Yeah, with the supply shortage, chip shortage kind of subsiding, you can see more and more of our boards, and Make did a really good job reviewing it. I think the DVI board is neat because plugs into TVs.
Well, yeah, and I can't talk about what Raspberry Pi may or may not have told us about their future products, but they said they really liked the Featherbones board. They were like those.
Yeah, we're under friend DA with them, so they'll have some announcements and more to check out. You can get this from Adafruit Daily. It goes to your inbox every single week. No spam. We don't do anything. It's a completely separate site. Do check it out. Let's do some open source hardware news, LadyAda. The first bit of news, and we'll go over. We'll have a little preview video in our top secret section, but we have one of the new Arduino R4s, R3.
Yeah, we got one of each.
R3.
I think the R4.
R4. And we're playing around with it. I really like one of the things that we asked Arduino for, probably too much, probably annoyed them, is a stemma connector. And it's there. They had another connector that wasn't, it was not what we all decided on, like kind of collectively.
It was like their maker connector, but they never created anything that used it.
So that's on there now, and we'll show off in our top secret section some of the things that we're doing. But that's good news for makers, because if you have one of these, or even if you don't, your stuff will work. We're part of the beta, sort of, with the new R4, and we're probably going to talk to Renaissance soon. We have some ideas for them, and maybe we'll do some hardware, report some stuff. We'll see.
I like the
Um,
French pronunciation.
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
Yeah, I think you're allowed to pronounce it any way you want. So we have some guides, LadyAda. What's on the big board this week from Adafruit? And
Okay, we're catching up on our product guides. I did a bunch of hardware, and Kattni and Liz, who do the product guides for me, for us, have been super busy with their projects and out on holiday breaks. But we're almost caught up. So the I2C Stemma QT gamepad, little gamepad board over I2C to make it really easy to add analog joystick and 6 buttons over Stemma QT. Hey, you could plug it into your Uno R4. That guide is live with code for Arduino and CircuitPython. Thanks, Kattni. From Noe and Pedro, we've got a little case for the Feather DVI. So kind of cool if you want to make video output projects. Use a strappable case so you can mount onto something. Under Phil's head is the iSpy. Thank you, iSpy BFF board. So if you have a Cutie Pie or a Xiao and you want to use any of our TFT displays, almost all of them now have this thing called iSpy connector. It's a flex cable that makes it really, really easy to add displays without like all the wiring that you normally need to for like SPI, I2C, and GPIO, with lots of chip select pins and all that good stuff. So we have a little breakout board that'll make it easy to add displays. And then Melissa kind of did like a total redo of the RG Matrix Dreidel game because we're going to come up with a new Matrix portal board that's based on the S3. And we went through and you wanted to make sure that all of our Matrix portal guides would still work, like, regression test. And Melissa just like, plowed through all of them and found this is the only one that actually needed a hardware update because it needs an I2S amplifier to do audio projects. And if you want to scroll, there's a couple more updates. We also did, Carter did some updates to the Seesaw guide. There's a lot of documentation that was missing. Thanks to Carter for picking that up. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Everything else is just little updates.
Do check it out. We have guides published every single week. Let's do some factory footage. And that's our factory footage this week. We're doing a bunch of filming with some additional shots soon, so you'll see even more. I'm still working through a lot of the footage that we film, and then we do stuff during the week too. Let's do some 3D printing. We're just going to jump right in. There's 2 videos. We have one that's not even out yet on YouTube, so this is a world premiere, and then we're going to do a speed up.
Fresh tracks.
You can display graphics and images to an external monitor with the Feather RP2040 DVI. This Feather RP2040 has all the goodies you know and love, plus digital video output that will work with any HDMI monitor or display. It features the RP2040 chip with a DVI HDMI port, 8 MB of SPI flash, Stemma QT, onboard NeoPixel, and USB-C. Our 3D printed case secures the Feather in a compact enclosure without the need of any hardware screws. The top cover snap fits together with access to the Stemma QT port and features live hinges for the boot and reset buttons. All you need to get up and running is 5V USB power and an HDMI capable display. You can use the Display I/O library in CircuitPython to quickly create projects that can display text, images, and animated graphics. With the Feather RP2040 DVI, you can display the REPL directly to your HDMI monitor so you can debug your code while developing your project. Display I/O makes it easy to prototype your project so you can quickly get up and running. You can download 3D models of the Feather RP2040 DVI and design your own custom 3D printed projects. The Pico DVI wrapper for Arduino lets you develop projects using the Adafruit GFX library so you can draw lines, circles, and text to develop video-based projects. Download the library and Arduino and check out the code examples to get started. There's tons of retro-inspired screensavers such as an aquarium full of fish, classic flying toasters, an Amiga-inspired 3D bouncing ball, Max Headroom's glitching TV host, and the good old bouncing DVD logo. Check out the guide on the Adafruit Learning System for documentation, files, and demo code. We hope this inspires you to make video-based projects with the Feather RP2040 with DVI.
Don't forget the code is QuadRo10. We're going to jump right into Ion MPI.
On MPI.
Ion MPI brought to you by DigiKey. This week it is ST. LadyAda, what is Ion MPI this week?
All right, this week's Eye on NPI again from ST. We covered their ST32G0 series only a few months ago, but I've been waiting for this. Finally got it shipped to me a couple days ago, and I wanted to feature it. It's the new ST-Link V3 PWR power. It's the power version of the ST-Link, and it's kind of neat because we're definitely seeing a lot more people doing low power and power thoughtful design, and so having a debug probe that has power monitoring built in is kind of a no-brainer. So this is, you know, again, everything you love about ST-Links. They're great for programming and debugging your STM chips. It's very inexpensive compared to a J-Link, and of course works with all of the ST software, STM32 Cube. It's got SWD JTAG programming and high quality battery monitoring and power monitoring and power supplying. So it can supply adjustable voltage output. The terminal blocks, I'll show those, and it can measure the amount of current being drawn using software tools, and for a really great price. The top feature says 1 quadrant source measurement. It can only source, it doesn't sync current, but that's not a big deal. You can have the programmable voltage be from 1.6 to 3.6 volts, which is, you know, basically a single AA battery, maybe 2 AA batteries, a couple of coin cells, a coin cell, or a lithium ion or lithium polymer. You can have up to 500 milliamps out, and it can sample the data at up to 100 kilosamples per second. So you'll catch all those little spikes, especially if you're doing wireless, where, you know, there's a spike of current when you first scan or connect your radio. You'll be able to catch that, no problem. And then there's also auxiliary output for power up to 2 amps. We'll talk about some of the details of that. That's if you want to power one subsystem, say a motor with 3 volts, and you want to power the main board with a separate 3 volts so you can monitor them separately. That's possible. And of course, it's got all the ST-Link stuff that you know and love. So JTAG, SWD programming at high speeds with, you know, lots of breakpoints, works with I think it works with GDB as well as STM32 Cube and OpenOCD and all that good stuff. USB-C, high power, and software available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. This is part of the family of ST-Link debug system, debug probes. So, a lot of people probably are familiar with the V1 or V2, low cost debug probes. They do have a variety of different ones. This one is the PWR. It's the second one there, where it can have adjustable voltage and energy profiler. Whereas the others, while they can be used for, all of them can be used for programming, but looks like it doesn't, this one doesn't have drag and drop. So it doesn't show up as like a COM port, a mass storage device where you can drag a hex file on, sort of similar to a microbit. With this one, you can only connect through, I use STM32 program. To use this, you'll have to download the software. It runs on a desktop, and that's good because it means you can log data. I mean, it's very easy to use a oscilloscope or a multimeter to get pinpoint power usage. But again, for IoT devices, and I'll show an example, you really do need to have high frequency a high frequency sampling system that will tell you how much current is being used in order to determine how much overall power and how long your LiPo battery is going to run. So this is the application when you run it. You can select which COM port. It uses a COM port to communicate data back and forth. I didn't immediately find documentation on the protocol. One thing to note, I couldn't run this immediately on my Windows computer because it does require you to plug into a USB-C port. I tried to plug into a USB-A port, but because that A port doesn't have power delivery, the STM, which I believe they have built in like power delivery sync support on like the STM32 series these days, it didn't detect power delivery sourcing on the other side. And so it says, hey, I can't guarantee that we'll have enough power. So you can't use power measurement mode. If you want to do that, you need to connect to something that has a USB-C plug. And there is one on my computer, but it's kind of on the back of the tower. So instead, I went and plugged it into my Mac. And, the Macs have USB-C and it has power delivery. So it came up just fine. Then this is monitoring a Wi-Fi feather, and you can see it, turns on, there's a little bit of a spike, it connects to Wi-Fi, it is active for a bit, just sort of sitting around like blinking an LED, and then it goes into sleep mode, and then it goes into deep sleep mode. So this kind of cyclic behavior is really common, especially something with Bluetooth where you really are connecting for, or broadcasting for a very, very short amount of time, and then you're quiet for maybe up to a minute in between advertisements. You want to make sure that you're accurately capturing exactly how much power is being drawn. And then what's nice is that this has a full range. So, even when you're using the source power measurement, even though it can supply up to 500 milliamps, it can also tell you down to I think this is the microjoule and microamp, how much power and current you're drawing. So it's good for the low current stuff too. That's where you usually have to pay a lot of money. Historically, current monitors like this would cost a couple $100. This is under $100. It's a really great deal. And of course, the software works on every operating system. Also not necessarily true of power monitors of old. I remember I bought one that was almost $1,000. It was very good, but it was frustrating to spend that much on something that could easily break. And also didn't have great software support. So this is a really nice step to see all these chip companies spending the effort to give us really good tools for their IoT platforms. There's also another mode where you can go into like ultra low power mode, and you can measure not just amount of current, but how the overall power usage. You'll see it's monotonically increasing. It tells you how many joules you're using overall. This can be good if you want to see how long it's going to take for your battery to die, because you need to know how many joules your battery can provide. And you can see like, hey, how long is it going to take until I get to that joule level that my battery would run out. So 2 different modes of thinking about current. And then, of course, I grabbed an STM32 board that I had offhand. This one it's called a black pill, and it's got on the end there the SWD port. So I started some wires and plugged it in, and STM32 programming worked just great. It showed up. I can observe the memory, and of course, if I'm developing for the STM32, which I'm not currently, but if I was, you can plug this into the debugger. And there's also apparently, if you're using Keel, it will synchronize between your step debugging and the power monitoring, so you can tell what part of your code is causing a power spike. So if you're like, hey, that's weird, it's using the power increases at this point, why is that? Or it doesn't decrease at this point, you can set breakpoints, synchronize that with the power monitor, and it'll tell you, hey, the reason your power went up is you turned on the ADC and you forgot to turn it off. Or you're outputting to a pin that should be an input, but it's an output, and so you're sinking too much current into something. That can be very handy if you're really trying to squeeze as much low power out of your product as possible, which is a common engineering requirement. Is a good timing for this tool to be released because you can actually get STM32 chips these days. I just quickly went to DigiKey and searched for STM32F4, a common family, and there's 20,000, 30,000 in stock of some of the more popular parts like the F411 and 401. And then, of course, if you're going with the new G0 series, there are hundreds of thousands in stock. So pick up some STMs, pick up a dev kit. They're very inexpensive. And check out, Sean did a great video series, multiple parts, on using STM32 Cube, which is the IDE for STM32, and learning how to blink, connect to the internet, control motors, whatever, with these very, very popular microcontrollers.
All right, they're in stock.
Well, they were in stock. They just went out of stock because
Not in stock.
they were in stock. Well, I got mine. I hate to say that. They were in stock earlier today and they sold out because they only had like 100 or so. But they'll be back in stock very soon. So do sign up at DigiKey. I'm sure the first round is probably a small one just to get them into the hands of some developers. But they are real. I have one here. Maybe I'll show it off the overhead real fast.
Yeah, and then we'll also we have a video.
We get a short video. So this is the STM32V3 power. So it comes in a nice complete case. It's got LEDs to tell you what activity it's doing. This is the debug port. So this is for programming. So what I like about this is compared to like the PPK, this does programming as well as power. It's a 2-in-1 tool. And then this is the power output. So you can, it comes with a variety of cables. It comes with this cable, auxiliary power, as well as out, which is measured. And then there's also GPIO that you can use. And I know that there's an API actually to access these. So you could use this as like a USB to serial, or USB to SPI, or USB to I2C converter if you so wished. But most people, I think, are going to use this as a what it's designed for, which is debugging and programming your STM32 design while monitoring the power and being able to determine where and when you can optimize your power by step debugging while monitoring the current draw at the same time.
All right, and then let's do a little short video from ST.
Hi there! Today, in many embedded applications, energy optimization is key, and developers put a lot of effort into trying to reduce the current consumption as much as possible. Are you looking for an easy way to keep an accurate track of the power consumption at your application at an affordable price? Well, we have the solution for you. Today, I am pleased to show you our new member of ST-Link family, the ST-Link V3 Power. So, what's new on this ST-Link? Well, on top of being a full-featured debugger and programmer, the new ST-Link V3 Power is compatible with all STM32 MCUs. It enables you to measure the current draw of your application ranging from 100 nanoamps to 500 milliamps with a resolution of plus minus 2 nanoamps. In addition to that, a separate power supply is not needed anymore, since this ST-Link has the capability to power your target application up to 2 amps with a single wire. Now, do you want to see the ST-Link V3 Power in action? Let's check out our demo. Here we have our ST-Link V3 Power connected to one STM32U5 Nucleo target, and we can see the energy consumption in real time using the STM32 Q Monitor Power software tool. It's user-friendly, flexible, and you can do unlimited recordings and auto-scaling. You can also get an average measurement of every section, and it's possible to compute EMBC ULP benchmark scores. You may wonder, how is this ST-Link Wi-Fi Power supported by the STM32Cube ecosystem? Well, our new probe keeps all the programming and debugging feature of the ST-Link Wi-Fi family, and it's compatible with CubeID and CubeProgrammer, as well as third-party IDs to ensure that you can take advantage of the environment of your choice. On top of that, this new ST
Yeah, so we'll link to the full video. That was the portion that made sense for the NPI. So anyways, Quad Row 10 is the code. We're going to jump right into new products. LadyAda, ready?
Yes. New, 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 new.
Okay, we have some new stuff, and then we have kind of start the show. Let's kick it off right away.
Okay, first up, this is a really high res photo. This is a very, very, very tiny camera. So maybe go forward 2. Yeah, so that's next to a quarter. It's tiny. This is like an inch by maybe like a quarter of an inch. It's a very, very small 640 by 480 USB camera, and it would be really useful for embedded projects, especially ones where you have, say, Linux or a computer where you've got USB that can read a video camera, and you want a very, very small display. Also, some people sometimes make projects that have they're tethered to a computer, but you don't want the camera to be visible. You don't want like a gigantic webcam. You want something like a pinhole camera. So this is it. It's like the smallest camera I could find. It's got a 1mm connector, and we have a USB to the connector cable. That cable's just a pass through. So if you want, say you have like a Raspberry Pi computer or a smaller embedded Linux computer, you can actually wire it directly for a very small color camera interface. You're not going to get super great quality, but definitely for some machine vision stuff, reading QR codes, taking quick snapshots, time lapses, environmental monitoring. This is very small and very inexpensive, and because it doesn't come in an enclosure, it's easy to pot it or put it behind glass or what have you. So I think good for image and video products. Don't forget, you need something with USB host to connect to it. It will not work with a microcontroller.
Next up.
Next up, we've got some ratchets. We were talking about getting into small spaces, and I thought I carry some right angle ratchet tools that would be really handy. So this is the first one. It's a bigger ratchet. It's a little bit less expensive. It comes with a whole mess load of bits. So yeah, we have the 33-bit version, and I'll show the ratcheting action on the overhead. So it comes with bits and extender. You know the overhead? Okay. It comes with bits and an extender. So let me remove this protector. Oh goodness. So there's star, hex, and oops, this is star, this is hex. Star, Allen, or hex, various sizes of Phillips and various sizes of flathead, and also, of course, square. Once in a while you end up with square. And then this has, about an inch, inch and a quarter of clearance. The ratchet you can set by pressing this, and so you can either, do loosening, or if you flip it, you can rotate it this way. So this is good for getting into really small spots, but with various adjustable bits depending on what you want to ratchet in. But let's say you're like, man, that's a really nice tight fit right angle ratchet. What if I want something smaller and even thinner? Well, we've got that. The thinnest and most right anglest ratchet is the next thing.
All right.
This one, and Phil, you might remember we first saw this when we went to Tokyo Hands, and I saw this ratchet kit, and I picked one up, and since then I was like, I've never been able to find it in the U.S. And so I remembered that when we were looking for some right angle ratchets, and I actually found an importer that would let me buy this. So this is it doesn't have as many bits. It only has, 8 bits, but of course you can get other ones, but it is ridiculously thin. So
Yeah.
this is less than an inch. I think it's like 0.6 inches. So half the depth of this one. Okay, it does not get much thinner than this. It's extremely well designed and well made. It's got also ratcheting action, but very elegant. It's like actually kind of hard to test this because it's so skinny. It's hard to grab onto something. It will get into like any corner you need for sure, and it's designed and I believe also made in Japan by a Japanese company. That's why we originally saw it in Tokyo. But a really, really nice miniature ratchet, and also, of course, very small and lightweight. So if you need to, have a very tiny wrench kit that goes into your toolkit. I initially actually, after we got the one I had from Tokyo Hands, which I still have downstairs, it's in my bike toolkit. I was using it to do bike adjustments because it was so small I could put it in my little carrier bag attached to my bike frame. But not only good for bikes, good for anything. And of course comes with a variety of bits. This one comes with a couple of hex bits, as well as 2 flathead and PH1, PH2, and PH3 Phillips head.
Okay. And then the star of the show tonight, besides you, LadyAda, our team, our customers, our community, is
Quad, rotary, so much rotary. It's the code because it's so quadraphonic. If you like rotary encoders and you want to connect a lot of them to your project, you'll quickly run out of timers or interrupt pins. How to do it? You could use one of these quad rotary encoder breakout boards that we've designed. We have ones that have been with one rotary encoder, but this one has 4. That comes as a blank PCB, so you decide what encoders you want to solder in. There's also neopixels underneath. I'll show an example of that if you have clear shafted encoders, which are not that common, but if you do happen to have them, the neopixels will shine out the top, which is super neat. And then the rotary encoders are read by an onboard AT-Tiny microcontroller and then converted to I2C that you can query. So you connect it up to your microcontroller, microcomputer, Raspberry Pi is great because it can't even read encoders at all. It doesn't have the real-time GPIO control. Or you can connect it to your Pico or CircuitPython or MicroPy, whatever, and read the 4 encoders and control the neopixels. So I'll just show the demo on this overhead real fast. So hold on, let me reset it. There's nothing worse than there you go. Live demo. Okay, so you've got rotary encoders, and then of course these are just metal ones that I've soldered in. I don't have the knobs on, but imagine there's knobs. Also, by the way, you don't have to have them soldered in directly here. If you have large rotary encoders, like we showed the really big, like 60mm encoders, you can just solder the 3 wires to here and then use this as an encoder reader. It does not have to be, these standard PEC 11 footprint encoders. Although if you do want to use them, they're ready to go. And this is the 4x1 inch footprint, which matches with our other long stem QT boards. And then again, if you happen to have, and I have like one sample here of a encoder that has a clear shaft, we don't stock these yet, but hopefully soon I'll be able to get some. Then the NeoPixel shines through, and you can use a translucent knob to have the color
that's nice.
come through. So this is like, green. I mean, it's incredibly bright, but
That's nice.
you can see it's not actually as bright in person. It's just like collimated out the end.
Yeah.
So you have nice pink knobs. So this is an easy way to add a ton of encoders. There's also on the bottom of the board 3 address jumpers you can cut, so you can connect up to 8 of these at the same time and get just like a ridiculous number of encoders. And there's also an interrupt pin, which you can have toggle when either the button is pressed. So you can press the button and here it's detecting the encoder switch, or when the encoder is rotated, and that way you're not spamming the I2C ASCII constantly. Hey, has something changed? Has something changed? You can do that, of course, but if you want to save I2C and get better performance. You listen to the interrupt pin and it'll tell you, but then you have to wire one more pin up to your quad encoder breakout. So all the encoders, encoder away. We got code for Arduino and CircuitPython for this board. So it's ready to rock. Just don't forget, you need to pick up 4 encoders to go with it.
Okay. And that is new products this week.
Rotate, rotate, rotate. New, 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 new. Rotate, rotate, rotate. New, 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 new. Rotate, rotate, rotate. New, 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 new.
All right. Well, don't forget the code is quadrotin. Now it all makes sense. You can post your questions up on Discord. We're going to do some top secret, and then we're going to answer some questions. Then we're going to balance. Let's do some top secret.
Yeah.
Okay. Top secret. The first is a little bit of an update. Here's our kiddo with the first ever Wi-Fi enabled Python powered baby toy. Here is a little clip. This is playing Taylor Swift "Calm Down," kind of fitting for a kid, when you're fussy.
She's a little bit
Calm down. Sometimes.
Just a teeny bit.
Okay. So that was the board, and we mentioned that earlier. You could check out our posts about it as well. We'll probably have it in the store pretty soon. And then we're gonna play a couple videos. One is testing of one of our new products, and the other one is the new Arduino that just came out. And then we'll talk about an upcoming thing that LadyAda was just working on. All right, LadyAda, what is this?
Here's a new board coming out soon. It's the Neo Rotary 4. It adds 4, count them, 4 rotary encoders with switches with the coprocessor and STEMMA QT. This is the prototype in green. And of course the final version in gothy Adafruit black. Looking good. And then of course using my Metro M4 as the programmer. This has a Cortex M0 which does the UPDI programming to program those boards. So pop it on here. I like using mounting holes also as alignment pegs for the test jig. And it's already programmed it, and then to verify it works, it beeps, it lights up this green LED, and it makes the 4 NeoPixels glow. So I know that this is ready and programmed to go to the Adafruit shop hopefully this week.
LadyAda, what is this?
We just got one of these new Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi boards, and in addition to some cool LEDs and of course Wi-Fi via an ESP, there's also a quick port which is also compatible with our STEMMA QT boards. Ooh, which means you can plug and play boards. This would be great for IoT because you've got the Wi-Fi, this powerful chip, an ARM core inside, and then you want to add, say, a temperature and humidity sensor, an OLED. You just plug and play it right in. No soldering required. So if I wanted, I could have this upload to Adafruit IO or the Arduino Cloud or AWS. Without any soldering. So I think we're really getting to a next generation of IoT platforms where anyone can get data and upload it to the internet without coding and without soldering. It's a wonderful day here in America.
Okay, and then I'll be posting this up later, but this is something you're working on now.
Yeah, so this is, an ancient board. This is from early 2020. That I designed a board for the ICN 6211, which is a DSI slash MIPI 1 or 2 lane to TTL TFT converter chip, and it's fairly inexpensive, but it was totally unavailable for quite a bit, or it was hard to get, and so I kind of just didn't want to work on this anymore, so I put it aside. But the chip's available again, so you can see
This is something else you sent me.
this is the commit history where you can see it's I worked on it mid 2020 and then gave up for 3 years. But there's nothing more fun than spring cleaning on an old board, so I'm going to bring this back to life. So this is the dev kit. So we have A, and then once I get it going, I'll probably clean it up and make it a little bit more elegant.
All right, that's Top Secret this week. We're going to roll right into questions. We have a few lined up. Feel free to post any others in Discord. First up, LadyAda, I'm going to skip around a little bit since we just had some videos that we played. Is it difficult to pick and place the board for the ESP32 baby toy PCB? Just wondering, since it's a little odd shape and not normal square rectangle design.
It's not bad actually because the top and the bottom are flat, and as long as, although we have round boards that we pick and place,
Yeah.
we just have to have these little like things that come out and grab with little mouse bites. But if there's two flat edges, it's really easy because you put them on railings and then you break it off the railing.
Sure. I can do the next one. AdaBox shipping this year. Still recovering from chip shortage, and then redesigning everything that goes into the Ada boxes, plural. This next Ada box, we'll let everybody know, but it's happening this year for sure. That's why we have the like Ada box returns, kind of like Return of the Jedi poster that we made. Next up, question for Ask an Engineer. What are your thoughts on the Uno R4 with Wi-Fi? When will it run CircuitPython? Well, I can answer some of this. We have that little video. We're really excited about the Stemma quick connector.
Yay.
Because we had asked for that forever, because we're like, hey, Arduino, like that'll unlock a lot of hardware for people, because a lot of folks aren't going to get that or use the maker connector. So that's exciting. And then as far as CircuitPython goes, I put this in the chat. I would like to talk to Renaissance, the company who makes the chip, and see if they're interested in doing like a community grant or having the entire CircuitPython community work together to do a port. That would be kind of nice.
Yeah. Maybe not
we'll
for that
see.
particular chip, but that family. There's other ones in that family
Yeah.
that have much more RAM. Would be a good match for MicroPython or CircuitPython.
Is there an Arduino core for the NXP IMX RT 1011 Metro M7?
There is not. We have CircuitPython support, but we're not supporting it on Arduino at this time.
Okay. Do the clear shaft encoders have a button too?
They do not. That's the trade-off
Okay.
because they don't have some backing, right? The shaft goes all the way through. It's clear.
All right. Questions, recommendation for lead-free solder.
Any lead-free solder would be fine. The ones we have in the shop are good. I think we also covered lead-free solder on the Great Search, so you can check out the video that we did. We spot a couple good ones.
Yeah. What's the fastest the quad speed board can go in megahertz?
It's for human encoders, not for robotic encoders. I haven't tested with robotic encoders.
Gotcha. And power boost, when are we going to have those back in stock, you think?
I don't know. You gotta ask TI when they're gonna ship me more chips because that's what we're waiting for.
TI, if you're keeping score, was the frequent flyer on the chip shortage video series we
They
did.
were. Yeah. I'm not even sure that they will ever make those chips again, but they
They
did ship us a couple thousand, and we put them in the store.
Yeah.
And we shipped some back orders, but yeah, the power boosts are some of the ones that they're waiting on chips. They haven't come in.
Okay. When you have a gut feeling that there's a problem with your PCB you've designed, you haven't ordered yet, but you can't see an obvious error, what do you do? Spend hours looking for potentially managing problems, or YOLO and possibly waste money? Thanks for all the work you do with it. So sort of with the
I send it out because it's like, you want to get immediate feedback on what does work. Even if you're not sure, I find that it's not, if you think about how much your time is worth, most engineers would say their time is worth at least $50 an hour. Prototypes cost about $50. If you don't think you're going to find something in the next hour for sure, you might as well send it out.
Okay. I think that is any products for smart homes.
Check out the Funhouse. It's an all-in-one sensor designed for home
Yeah.
automation.
I would say even better than a product is check out Whippersnapper, our IoT service, our no-code, low-code service, and also Adafruit IO, because a lot of the smart home things you don't really control, and some of them are really intense to get into. It's not just like, here's something I want to do, like tell me if my basement's flooding. That's a very single serving thing that you don't necessarily want like an entire new lifestyle of installing and maintaining software, or a commercial solution, which is like maybe they turn it off one day. That's something that I would say figure out the type of things you want to do and then look at our guides. A lot of things that I see that people want to know is like, I just want to know if I left my garage door open after I leave. Like, that's it. I don't want anything else. I don't want like, that's what I want. I don't want to, I have other things in my house, but I just want that to work. Let's see. I think that is it.
Okay.
That is our show for the night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Special thanks to Jessie May, who's behind the scenes, I believe, in our Adafruit chat channel,
Yay.
helping our team out and the community and the folks that are purchasing things. Thank you so much. Don't forget the code is Quadrotin. We will see everybody next week. This has been an Adafruit production. Here is your moment of Zener.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.